It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's not just Christmas, New Year's, etc. The Gators are playing Tulane in Tampa, no less, Ryan. Florida is a 13-point favorite to win this game over the Green Wave.
Taking the Gators. I think that they've got a lot of momentum. It's a big line. Tulane, not as good as the last couple of years. I thought they dipped a little bit this season. But I do think that somehow we were looking at Florida heading into the season and thought it was just going to be a total disaster and how they could have went 3-9, and they managed to not do that. They managed to have Florida fans and people around the SEC optimistic about maybe what the next step could be with Billy Napier, and he'd saved his job. And I really think DJ Lagway is a legit talent, and he makes that offense better. I'll take the Gators to cover the big line.
Matt?
Yeah, Todd Monken loved DJ Lagway when he was in high school. Georgia liked him a lot, and it's easy to see why. I'm going to hammer Florida here. A lot of good mojo around in the program. Playing in Tampa, I think they want to end the season, on a high note. They are playing well. Would be tough to see a setback there. So if they get off to an early lead, Dean, I think they could absolutely cruise in this game. They're going to come out and I think play with some fire, play behind their coach. I think the Gators get it done.
Yeah, I'll take the Gators as well. Complete SEC bias on here. And, look, I do think they have momentum. I don't know about mojo, but they have momentum. I look forward to everyone penciling them in their top 15 next season as a preseason matchup. All right, we're going in order of time, so not necessarily the order of importance for Georgia, though. Y'all, Indiana's going to go to Notre Dame. This is probably the most important game in Indiana history. It's one of the most important in Notre Dame history. Matt, the Hoosiers are a 7-point dog on the road in South Bend. Who you got in this one?
I'm taking the Hoosiers. I think Notre Dame's a better team. I think they'll win. I just like the 7 points. I remember watching them just absolutely crush Nebraska, and I remember thinking, this is a well-coached team. This guy knows what he's doing. They play hard, and again, the opportunity to beat Notre Dame in South Bend in a playoff game, I think that coach is going to have them locked in, ready to go. They're really good at stopping the run, something Notre Dame does really well. I'll be interested to see that matchup, Ryan. But I think Indiana gives them a real fight. Tight game. I'm going to take them to cover.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fight as well, but I'm going to take Notre Dame to just kind of barely cover that line. Maybe 3 field goals, maybe a touchdown and a field goal, but I think I'm very curious, as we talked about in a previous video, to see how many Indiana fans fill up that stadium, but I think Notre Dame will win the crowd at its home stadium. I think that as much as Indiana stops run well, Notre Dame just does it really well. This is one of the best running teams in college football. I think they have better athletes. I think that Jeremiah Love is really good. I know I dogged on Riley Leonard a lot at the beginning of the season. I'll continue to dog on him in terms of the passing game goes, but he's a threat with the legs, and I think Notre Dame wins this game and goes on to play Georgia in New Orleans.
Yeah, I'll take Indiana as well. I think Notre Dame will win the game. I'm not certain of it, but I think they will. I'm going to just quickly show you these. You're running out of time. Kelee Ringo-signed, 33 of them. 33 don't exist anymore. They're going off to people. This is the championship moment in the 2021 national championship. They get confusing. You can see this. You can easily see the numbering here, as well as his autograph right there. Kirby's up there. William Poole. Christopher Smith. You can get these now. I can send them to you before Christmas, but you really do need to act now as we are running out of time. I'll take the Hoosiers. I think that they're tough, man. I think they're tough to deal with. I think that they are, but it's just going to be a lot to beat Notre Dame up there. South Dakota State goes to North Dakota State. The Bison are Jackrabbits? I can't remember what South Dakota State is. That correct? Jackrabbits, right?
Something like the rabbit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have their mascot in front of me, but I do know I watched them play. These are all pretty good teams, by the way, and all clustered in the upper western well, it's the west. If anyone's been out to Montana knows that's the west. I'll take South Dakota State, wishing they were San Diego State in that weather. They were 1.5-point favorite. At North Dakota State. Matt, who you got?
I'm going to take North Dakota State at home. They played really well against Colorado. I took them to cover. They did. I've been kind of keeping an eye on them. That quarterback can run a little bit. He's got some experience. they play hard, and they're tough to beat in that building. I believe, Ryan, they barely beat South Dakota State like midway through the season. Really tough game. So it's not like they just beat them 2 weeks ago. Things can really change. I don't know. I think they're a little bit better. I'm going to take them at home to cover. What's the line? I don't even know what the line is.
South Dakota State is a 1.5. It's just moved since I've updated the page. South Dakota State is a 3-point favorite now, suddenly. Like in the moments that we've been talking.
They heard us talk and they had to change the line.
Yeah, I'm going to take North Dakota State at home. Yeah, that's what
I will stick with them at 3. No, they are a home dog. They are a home field goal dog. North Dakota State is the dog here.
Yeah, I'm going to take them at home.
Yeah, give me the Bison and give me the points. They've got a history of dynamic quarterbacks. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I know a lot about these two teams. I watched a little bit of South Dakota State, though. This is the FCS game. This has been the matchup the last few years, and I think North Dakota State has been doing better in it, if I've got my history straight, and I'll stick with that.
Montana State will host South Dakota in Bozeman at Bobcat Stadium. Montana State's probably the best team in FCS, okay? So that's the 1AA. I just can't. They're an 8-point favorite. I'm going to take them to win and cover this line here, Ryan.
Yeah, they're undefeated, and they've been blowing teams out. I've got them up there. I'd love to check that place out. Go see Bozeman. Maybe go watch a Montana State game.
Yeah, I've got a cousin who graduated from Montana State. That she loves it up there. But they're just crushing everyone. No reason to pick against them. Yeah, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon with y'all.
All right, the nose in the air. Penn State Nittany Lions are going to host SMU. You can get tickets for this game for $53. Everybody in the Big Ten, listen very clearly. Shut up about your experience in stadiums. It's a playoff game. $53. Penn State hasn't played a game that's mattered in decades. Okay? They have not played for a national championship since the 80s. Shut up, Ryan. Penn State is an 8.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I've got Penn State. Better defense. Just watched SMU try to come back against Clemson. Just not as battle-tested as Penn State. I thought Penn State did an okay job against Oregon, kept themselves in the game, showed some explosive playability against the Ducks, actually, something that you didn't get to see from them all season. But they'll have that home field advantage. And 8.5?
Unless it keeps, I have 8.5. Let me refresh. But go ahead.
I'll take it either way. I think they win by about 14.
Interesting. I've never ridden a horse, but I'm going to ride these ponies into Happy Valley. I'm going to tell you that right now. They can stop the run, and I think the cold weather is not going to really matter. I think this is a pretty decent SMU team. I think Penn State probably wins, but 8.5, I don't trust this Penn State team at all to do that. I think they can kind of have a tough, low-scoring, win by 3, win by 6 type of deal. But I think SMU is going to come out there with some fire. I think they're going to lose, but I don't know. 8.5 points just seems like a little too much for me. So I'm going to take SMU to cover, Penn State to win.
So, again, I just want to rant just for a second here. You morons up there, you're always talking about, you wanted this. You chose this. You wanted the weather games. And now here's weather, and there's tickets for $53. This is borderline worse than the game that you just played in, which was a championship game against Oregon, where you knew you were going to lose anyway. Look, I've had enough of the Big Ten's foolishness about all this stuff. Yeah, it's going to be really bad weather.
It's sunny and 29. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you know where you live. You're picking this. This is your choice. I don't care. I'll take Penn State to cover the 8.5. Clemson moseys on over to Texas. The Horns are a 12-point favorite, Matt DeBerry, to win. It's not great over there. These tickets are only $70 secondary market. The big game of the weekend is $473 for Notre Dame, Indiana. Okay, so I think y'all can do the math on that. But Texas and Clemson, I don't know, Matt, 12 points? What you got?
It's too many points. I just really like the underdogs this week. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think Texas is probably better. But I think Clemson's defense is good enough to where they should be in the game throughout this. And if Texas doesn't, get that running game going, and you're putting everything on Quinn Ewers again, he's going to make some mistakes against the Tigers. So I'm not sure this whole home field advantage is going to help them out a ton. I think Dabo's got a great motivational speech ready to go. Going to fire his boys up. Little old Dabo, going out to big old Texas. I don't know. I think they're going to keep it close. Texas is probably going to win, but 12 points. I'm taking the points a lot this weekend, Ryan. Give me Clemson to cover that line.
Yeah, I had a harder time with this one just because I don't really trust Texas's offense. I do trust that they're going to limit Clemson's offense. That's one thing I do know.
Is that what you're going with?
But I'm also going to take Clemson here, but not as confident as any of my other picks.
I'll take Clemson. I would be surprised by an upset. I'm not saying I'd be shocked. Texas could be, tired at this point. I mean, think about in 4 weeks, they will have played 3 games that are pretty emotional. Clemson, Georgia, and Texas A&M. It's a lot on a team, even with a bye week in there. I'll take Clemson's 12 points. I don't know. I mean, I think this is sort of the game that Texas has kind of got to get past before they sort of rediscover themselves and keep it rolling. They should win these 2 games they play. I'm not expecting them to look good, though. I'll say that. The Tennessee Vols go to play in Ohio. This game is more respectable on the ticket line. It's not great. I think Tennessee people are eating these tickets up. I'll go first because I've not gone first yet. I will take the Vols. I will take the 7.5 points, Ryan, because I think that Tennessee, everybody, you don't think it's cold in Tennessee? It's freezing up there sometimes. So they're in the mountains too, clowns. Look, I also think, and I don't think this is overdone, the psyche of Ohio State is troublesome right now. We watched, or I keep forgetting that it was the next day. I watched as, Michigan just took it to Ohio State. And I think this is a very fragile situation right now at Ohio State. Tennessee, not so fragile. They're playing with house money, if you want to call it that. I would not be surprised if Tennessee won this game. So give me the 7.5.
I think Tennessee is going to win this game. You hit on a lot of points that I was going to hit on too, especially the cold one. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard out of some of these analysts, that they're not ready for the cold. It's cold in Knoxville, man, and they're used to it. They played a cold game in Athens, and they had to fight it out with Georgia, not as cold. But this is Ohio State has all of these weapons on the outside, and they continue to run the ball and hand the ball off. And I get it. You've got Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, but this offense seems a little bit limited with Will Howard. And what it's taken to beat Tennessee this year, they got upset. Not a great game early on in the season at Arkansas. But against Georgia, it was Carson Beck who was the difference maker and airing it out. I don't think they have that with Will Howard, and I think they can match up with the athletes. But this is a Tennessee defensive line that's really good, and they're going to be capable of stopping them to do that. They've got a running back that's just as good as Ohio State's, if not better. And they've got potentially the most dynamic quarterback they've seen. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel can do a lot of good things outside of the pocket, but they haven't seen a Nico Iamaleava. I think I got that right. I think the Vols win.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tennessee to cover this one. Kind of tough, low-scoring game. I think both quarterbacks are due for at least 2 turnovers. I think both defenses are really good. I think the cold actually favors Tennessee and Dylan Sampson in this game as well. So it would not surprise me at all to see Tennessee win this game. But deep down, Ryan Day needs this one. You lose this game, pack your bags, buddy. I mean, he's got to go. I think they have to win this game if he wants to survive and, keep this thing going under his leadership. So I think Ohio State can win, but again, like Ryan said, Tennessee wouldn't surprise me at all. I think it's kind of a toss-up game, so I will take Tennessee with the 7.5 points and feel pretty good about it. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game. I think it's probably going to be more defense-heavy, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the wire. Whichever team makes kind of the plays and wins the line of scrimmage in the fourth quarter, I think might win this game. Could absolutely be Tennessee, so I'm going to take them in the points.
Yeah, I don't know how Tennessee's going to play at a place where it's going to be 7 degrees colder on Saturday than it is in Knoxville. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm perplexed. I'm not real smart because I'm from the South, I guess. So we're going to do that whole thing. So you morons up there, keep it up. I mean, keep it up. And see, now I'll tell you this, though. Ohio State, is it? All right. Here's the. This is how we'll end it. Does Ryan Day get let go, Ryan, if he loses this game?
100%. I don't think we have to wait 48 hours for that either. That's happening swiftly if they lose. I think that they could lose in the second round and that'll still happen.
Matt?
Yeah, at some point you got to say enough is enough. And if they lose to Michigan for their fourth year in a row and lose to Tennessee at home when you just lost to Michigan at home, too many boosters. I just assume that it's a very large fan base that they have there, and they're going to come out with, pitchforks on fire, not just the tips, just the whole thing, spears and all. They're going to come after him, and you'd have to make a change.
It's supposed to be a $20 million roster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going great. I mean, we'll just see. That's the one game. I mean, I think Indiana, Notre Dame, I don't know. But I think they're all riveting. Like we said a long time ago, I don't like that this is playing out the way they did. Texas should not be in the situation they're in. They should be in a bye. But and probably Penn State as well. But and to be honest, Tennessee should probably be hosting Ohio State. People say, well, why would you say that? Or whatever a Midwestern accent is. I'm sorry, who have they beaten? I'm like, what does it matter? What like this is a total coin flip. The committee really jammed Tennessee because they lost at Georgia, or I guess because they lost at Arkansas. All right, whatever. But
that's not as bad as what happened a couple weeks ago for Ohio State, though. And it's more recent. I agree with you. It should have been flip-flopped.
My perspective is that it probably should be too. How do we know that Tennessee's not better than Georgia? I mean, I've said that a lot. I think they're not, but I think it does matter where you play games. And now Tennessee's having to go up there and all this stuff. That's the game I want to see the most. I'm watching Indiana and Notre Dame for obvious reasons, but that's the game I'm watching the most. I think that's the game country's watching the most, and that's why they stuck it at night on ABC where it belongs. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas. We'll see you all in the next video.